Good.
Thank you.
Man, everyone's just coming in with new hairstyles. Hunter.
Nope. Hasn't changed.
I did not. I just straightened my hair.
Rihanna's might be a little more purple. Or she might have done that a long time ago. Yeah, okay. I just see the hints of it from the light.
I was just tired of my blonde.
I understand. I feel like sometimes you act like a blonde if that was the case.
Were you getting a lot of jokes?
No.
I did when I highlighted mine.
Well, like I'd even dye, so I dyed it last March,
Mhm.
and it was just to a regular brown, and then I was a lifeguard during the summer. So
Yeah.
the sun bleached it, and
Absolutely.
I was tired of blonde.
Kind of turned it red probably. What color is your regular
My natural is a brown.
brown? See, if I let mine go too long or if I lighten it too much, it turns like a red, like a light red. It's like, oh, okay.
My hair always pulls red, even if I dye it with just purple dye, it always pulls red.
And so is yours red normally?
No, it's like this weird, light, dusty brown color.
Okay. Okay. I can see that.
This is way off topic, but you remember Bob Ross, the guy that did all his painting?
I freaking love Bob Ross.
Yes, I remember Bob
It's on
Ross.
Hulu.
Someone has underwear
It's
of
on
Bob Ross.
Netflix.
Yeah, it's on. They got it on Netflix too.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Score. That's like the most soothing stuff to watch. Just put a
It's-
little-
okay, it's not for me because this is why. I think, gosh, that looks really easy.
I know, right?
And then I tried, it's like, that was not really easy.
Just listening to him talking about his happy trees.
His happy
Like,
trees,
he's
yeah.
OG
I'm just
ASMR.
gonna put a bush right there.
So
Whatever
are the
makes you
5 and the
happy.
3 down below, we have to substitute into X or?
No, they are fractions, x over 5 and x over 3.
Okay.
Sorry, that's the only way to do them without doing them right beside each other. I'm feeling old tonight. We all know that I'm 43 now that my son told us all.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
See, it was just us.
Oh, jeez. So I just told everyone.
He just spilled the. I don't know. what's
He
the-
tried to do the math, but wasn't quite right. That's why he said, well, Mom, I'm the one that likes math. You are. All right. I'm all right. I'm still alive at 43, so. She might die because she just opened up a soda that has sugar in it. Have you heard my plight? Sugar diabetes. I gave up all sugar last Monday. I could kill someone. Do not get addicted to sugar. It is very hard.
It's not the sugar I'm addicted to, it's the caffeine.
See, I probably am addicted to caffeine too, but I can have diet soda, so
What are you drinking over there?
that is Diet Dr. Pepper.
Cold diet.
See, it was funny that you brought up that. I was talking to my dad today. 'Cause
Uh-huh.
I was talking to him and say, let me get the Harlem Globetrotter tickets.
Absolutely, yeah.
And he's like, why do you need them? I go, why do I need oxygen? I just need it.
Absolutely.
And I'm-
You're going to have a good time, though. It'll be a good time.
Mhm. Well, I haven't seen him since I was 12 because he survived this long with oxygen. I go, I look like I'm alive on the outside. And then he ignored me, and I texted him like 6 times in a row. I was like, can I?
Absolutely. I asked mine, do you want to go? And he's like, no. I was like, okay.
I ended up getting a courtside ticket
Courtside?
When
Yeah.
are they gonna be here?
Tomorrow.
Who's doing
Hayes?
Hayes?
I was working.
Who's coming?
What
Harlem
time?
Globetrotters.
What is
No.
that?
Yeah.
What time's the
It's like they're entertainers, but they're professional basketball players, and they go out there just to like, make fun of people. They'll pull their shorts down, or they'll dribble off of their arm or something, and then score a basket
I
on
have
them.
free passes to get into the game.
There you go.
Courtside tickets. They were $63 for courtside tickets.
I bet so.
I was so happy.
I bet so. That's really not a bad price, though. If you're
No.
talking about going, I don't know who's a Harlem Globetrotter anymore. When I went, I saw Lynette Woodard, who was a KU basketball player on the women's team, and she was there, and various other people. So it's a pretty good price for.
Like, that price would get you like in the nosebleeds. So that's
Absolutely right.
20.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's my problem. I even did that today in class and was like, oh, of course I play it off, I meant to do that, see if you were paying attention, Rebecca. But I also do tell them, if you see that you aren't bringing down your negatives, that's probably one thing that you do need to pay attention to closely. And for me, that is one thing that.
I struggle with that. We even made that.
We talked about Harlem Globetrotters. I had to show you my skills.
Follow. Did they ever find that bastard?
Nope.
No.
Who?
Not as of when I was at home earlier.
That
What are you
guy
talking
who-
about? They said that, like yesterday, they said he was spotted in Colby at 10 a.m. And
Yes.
around like 4 or 5, I was talking to the ER nurses and they said that somebody from Taco Shop spotted him back in here.
Oh, jeez.
He's a dumbass.
Well, somebody at Hayes PD needs to know that because
They called it in.
they don't, they think he's continuing to go Colorado because mom lives in Colorado or something of that nature.
He's
He's from here, right?
That always happens.
Well,
on
one of
the
my
street.
coworkers says that he knows him personally.
There was 2 girls
And
in
said
my,
that he is originally from Colorado but moved out here and like went to high school out here and everything.
yeah, a couple of the girls
Yeah.
in my A&P class went to school with him. They were actually at the same house as him that night.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I know that, that he better hope the cops find him or he might find out that he's not alive anymore. There's just so many guys that are mad about it right now that,
Vigilante justice.
absolutely. Well, he's already served, I don't know how many years in prison, 4 years or something for the same thing. He wasn't even out a weekend and was already doing it again. Pretty sad. I want to get down to I'm just going to skip to x over 5 minus 3 equals x over 3 plus 1. Now, because I'm dealing with adding and subtracting, I have to have common denominators. And as I've told you, that fraction is that bad F word when we come to talking about math, right? Functions, fractions, both of those are things that students don't normally like the best. So I'm going to remind you of clearing the denominator. If I take both sides times one number, whichever number, and make sure that everything is taken care of, I'm going to take this side by 15 and this side by 15 because 3 times 5 is 15. That's going to clear out that complete bottom number and we'll be left with just numbers like this that we're used to, okay, without a fraction. So 15, let's do this time, 3 goes into 15 5 times. No. 3 times 15 is 45, sorry. And that's actually a negative. 5 goes into 15 3 times, so 3 times x is 3x. And this one, plus 15, 15 times 1. 3 goes into 15 5 times. So now I can just fix the formula or complete the rules of formula. I'm going to subtract 3x here. I'm going to subtract 15 from this side and from this side. Divide by 2 so that x gets to be by itself. So I find out that x is 30.
Negative 30.
Negative 30. I did put a negative on it that time though. It's not showing.
So with 4,
4.
since you didn't do that
Sure.
one, do you, and there is no equal sign? I mean, you gotta solve for x either way.
To simplify it?
And you just combine like terms.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what, 3x plus 9? I'm not gonna write it, I'm just gonna write 3x plus 9
Plus 5
plus 5
Minus 5x.
minus 5x
minus 1.
minus 1. So this one minus this one plus this one minus that one. So 14 minus 1,
Okay, so you don't have to solve.
no.
Okay.
I probably didn't type it right, but. All right, if you will get out a piece of paper, please. Oh, that's not what I want. Here is a 5-point quiz. Actually 20 points, but 5-question quiz. Hold on right there. I'm not giving that to you yet, because you do not know the answer to the second part. All right. I'm sorry, I'll give it to you. I mean, obviously, you know you're going to have a quiz. But I'll give it to you probably next week, you know. Slope-intercept form. When we talk about slope-intercept form, that is mx plus b, where slope is m, stands for rise or run. B is where it crosses over the y-axis. Let me first draw a coordinate grid system. All right, so B is where you're going to cross over this line. M is your slope, or how much going up it is over how much it goes across. B is where it crosses over. Okay? And you know that I do not require you to do a whole function table as long as we have 2 points. And this right here, this equation, let me write slope-intercept form, because I have the slope and I have the intercept. As long as I have 2 points, this plus 1 tells me where I'm going to cross over the y-axis. 2 tells me I'm going to go up 2 and over 1. I go up 2, over 1. I don't know, you might be somebody who doesn't actually go up 1 over 2. You might go over 1 up 2, something like that. Whatever it is that you do there. And then connect the two. Okay, slope-intercept form. Graph these on the x plus y. Remember, you've got to turn that into this form. So y equals something x plus b. Move the x over. just threw away one of my markers and. Okay, my first one, y equals 2. I'm going to draw a line all the way across 2. Right here's where 2 is. Here's your extra credit points. What is the slope of that?
What? Which one?
That y equals 2?
The horizontal one?
Yep.
0.
Why?
Because it doesn't go up, but it doesn't have a rise of a run.
No x.
0 over.
Absolutely. All right. X plus y equals 2. I want it in this form again, so I'm going to move my x over. Remember, I can't put 2 and x together, so I've got to make sure they're separated. Okay, then I just go up to plus 2, go down 1 over 1 for negative, and there is my line. Negative 3x plus 2. Negative 3x plus 2 is plus 2 again. Gosh, it's no wonder I have a huge problem here. So down negative 3, 1, 2, 3, and that's a huge area there. Over 1. X equals negative 3. 1, 2, 3, negative 3.
Defined.
Undefined, yep, slope is undefined, very good. And 4x plus y, so y equals negative 4x plus 5. So plus 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. Oh, darn. That was horrible. All right. I'm going to give you a moment there. Go ahead.
I'm trying to figure out what you did on that one, because that's not negative 4, that's a positive 4.
You subtracted 4x. and moved it
I
over
know,
here.
but,
Positive 5.
oh.
And I go
okay,
down
because-
4.
okay, never mind, I was thinking, never mind.
That's all right. Oh my. One hurts. You need graph. You got graphing?
I don't have to
I think sometimes it helps.
I
You
got
have-
some.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks.
Aubrey, graphing? Sometimes I even like to do my math on the graphing paper. It has a really nice box to put your numbers in. Probably why I still buying more graphing paper. Huh. All right, so slope formula. Sometimes I don't have all of this stuff. I don't have slope, or I don't have what where it crosses, or something of that nature. I've got to use a different formula.
Is
So
that called point slope formula?
yes, yes it is. Point slope formula. Is when you have two slope or 2 points that you're given, And you've got to use those to find out what the slope is. So your formula is slope equals the second point on y minus the first point on y, all over the second point at x over second point at, or first point of x. So taking these 2 points right here, I've got to find the slope. I always look at this one as 0.1 and 0.2. It doesn't make a difference really if you use this one as 0.2 or this one as 0.2, as long as you stay consistent. Okay? So for me, y2 is 4 minus y1, which is 7. x2, 3. See, I even messed it up. x1, if this is 0.1, it should be 7 minus 4 over 5 minus 3. If this is 0.1, 0.2. It doesn't make a difference. This ends up being negative 3 over negative 2, which is 3 halves as your slope. This one would end up being 3 over 2, which is 3 halves of your slope, as your slope. So see, as long as you're consistent, you don't have to worry about which one goes first or second. Try the second one. Find the slope if you have a line that is negative 2 comma 0 and 3 comma 1. So it looks like my slope should be 1/5 there. Okay? That is if I have the points, but I do not have the slope. Once I find the slope, I can use one of those points as, with this formula. Nope. To find the slope form, point slope formula, slope formula. Okay. Do those, please. That doesn't seem very big.
What's that formula over there called, the number?
Point slope. This one's slope intercept.
Oh, I know that, but like you have.
Geez, of course you would ask that. Let me think about it. That one actually might be point slope because I have a point and I have a slope. I was going to make this bigger. think that's better.
This, yes. And see, this one, I didn't know, first of all, do I put the 700 still in? Do I not put the 700 still in? So I took and used the 6.614, because I assumed that the time had to be the same. And just did these two, 700 being out of it. And changing, because you have miles per hour, you gotta change it to feet per second, because that's what actually, velocity said it was supposed to be. And so, those I am taking out, and you just remove credit for them.
Okay. But the other thing is that I don't like about that problem, nowhere does it explain in here what to do if, how far is that object going to continue moving once you are done. And, you know, once it's dropped, how, it does not explain that at all. So I don't like that part. That's why I don't want that problem to be anybody else's problem. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because, and I've had that one in the past and didn't delete it, so I'm gonna make sure to get that deleted this time. You, Rihanna, you said you had that one?
Yeah,
Did you get it right?
nope. Yeah, me, my girlfriend, my roommate, my brother couldn't figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Yeah, I couldn't figure it out either.
and there's no watch it, so
No.
I can try to
Oh, yeah, I didn't even.
do what they
attempt that
said. You what?
one. I didn't even attempt that one.
Yeah,
I just laughed until the next one.
Yeah.
And on 10, I put all real numbers and it wanted reals instead of all real numbers, and it was my last attempt, so it kind of be wrong on that.
I know, I didn't put equals to 0 on one, on the standard form of quadratic.
well, and one, some of yours is that it's gotta be in parentheses and you didn't put them in parentheses too.
Yeah,
Yeah, some of mine counted it wrong solely for the fact that it was in parentheses, but it would have been correct otherwise.
what kind of bullshit
Yep.
is that?
The reason of that though is because it is supposed to be, yours was supposed to be an interval notation.
That was the second one I messaged you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one was because I was.
Yeah, the first one you didn't put equal 0.
Yeah.
All right, so -2 minus 1. Oh, wait, no. -2 minus 2 is 0. 2 minus 1 is 1. So 0 over 1 gives me what?
0.
0. What kind of line?
Undefined.
Say again.
Undefined.
No.
When you give, I don't know.
Undefined is only if I have an X as that it's a 0.
I don't know. It's gonna give you a horizontal line.
Horizontal line. My slope is 0. Because whatever your answer is gives you the slope, right? So 0 divided by, 0 divided by negative or positive 1 gives me 0. So I have a horizontal line.
How'd you get a 1 on the bottom?
2 minus 1?
Yeah, but it's 2 minus -1, so it'd be a +3.
Okay. Positive 3 on the bottom. Still going to be 0. 0 divided by 3.
So then if you have like a, say for instance, 3 minus 0, or 3 divided by 0, it's gonna give you 0.
That would be
That would be
undefined,
the undefined.
and it would be a straight line going up and down.
Okay. That's where I always get confused on those ones,
Yep.
because like,
Oh, number 2. Y2 minus Y1 gives me -1 minus 4, which would be a -5 on top.
And then x2 minus x1 would give me a 1. So negative 5 over 1 gives me a
A
slope of
negative
Negative
5.
negative 5. This one. I already see that x is 3 and x is 3, so I know x is going to be 0. That tells me that I have an undefined slope. Okay? And we just talked about that. It's going to be a straight line going up and down on the 3.
So that one, the slope is undefined.
Absolutely, yes, ma'am. Two.
Went and used the student meeting to get a tutor
Uh-huh.
that day.
How's that?
The guy seemed really smart, but he's not a people person. So I think I would have had better luck watching a YouTube video.
And you're going to find my older son would be a great tutor if he was a people person. He's just not. So he does not tutor for that reason.
My boyfriend's best friend, if you have a problem with math, just Becky.
Is there another person that, do you have another time that can be filled with somebody else?
Probably. Who knows?
Thank you for giving that information as well, because
He was, well, and he was, after, towards the end of the session, it got to where we could talk a little bit more comfortably, but he was,
he maybe he's just
they have-
nervous.
They have a different, yeah, they have a different program too. Theirs is completely different from ours. Their online class. It's the same stuff, but it's just a different format.
Absolutely,
So I
yes.
had to move on to,
Yes, did you take your book?
yeah,
Okay. That is one thing that's important. And if you would, I mean, if you need, I almost said counseling, but we're not doing counseling. If you need a tutor, best thing, you have to contact Tiffany now in the student services, and she can get you hooked up with somebody over at the Kelly Center. They're just starting a new program, and so they have various different people that are available at various different times, but it is all during day. Wednesday, I think, is the only day they stay open late, and it's till 6 o'clock in the evening. They don't stay up past that. She was indicating that they may stay open a little bit later. They must be working on their building, a new building for just the tutoring area. And I don't know, but they... sorry. She was hoping that they would stay open later as the time went on. I don't know that that's going to happen. But I specifically told her that it wasn't good if you couldn't stay later than, some of my students don't get out of class until 3:30. So, here's your last 3.
The notable line passing through 2 points is m equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Part A, negative 5, negative 6, and 2, 8. If you let x1, y1 equal negative 5, negative 6, and x2, y2 equal 2, 8, you find that the slope m equals 8 minus negative 6 divided by 2 minus negative 5, which equals 14/7, or 2. Part B, 4, 2, and 2, 5. If you let x1, y1 equal 4, 2, and x2, y2 equal to 5, you find that the slope m equals 5 minus 2 divided by 2 minus 4, which equals 3 divided by negative 2, or negative 3x. Part C, 0, 0 means 0, negative 6. If you let x1, y1 equal 0, 0, and x2, y2 equals 0, negative 6, you find that the slope m equals negative 6 minus 0 divided by 0 minus 0, which equals negative 6 divided by 0, which is undefined, so the line is vertical. Part D, 0, negative 1, and 3, negative 1. If you let x1, y1 equal 0, negative 1, and x2, y2 equal 3, negative 1, you find that the slope m equals negative 1 minus negative 1 divided by 3 minus 0, which equals 0 divided by 3, or 0. Remember that a zero slope means the line is horizontal.
Sometimes I think they do a little bit more explaining than they need to, but sometimes that's good too, so.
This is off topic, but if you have like 3 jobs in 1 year, do they screw your taxes up?
No. You just have to make sure you have all of those W-2s. All right. Point slope formula, Miss Rebecca, is the formula that I showed you earlier. Y minus Y1 equals M times X minus X1. This one's just slope. So I want to find the slope. All right, so what if I have 2 points? This only says y1, x1, and gives me a 1/5 as a slope. Now, technically, I really don't have to have this to find slope. I could go ahead and point those, draw. -2, 0, -2, 0, and 3, 1, 3, 1. I could count how many that I rise over how many I ran. Okay, so I rose 1, and I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ran 5. So technically, unless they ask for a slope, you could find your, unless they ask for put it in a y-intercept form, you could actually do it just by drawing it. The other thing is, if I have this information and this information, I can use one of those points. I'm just going to use point 1. So y really? That's what happens when you get them out of the box. It's been y1 is 0. 1/5 is my m. X1 is -2. Okay. First thing, I got to look at this, and I have to switch that over to a plus, because a negative times a negative gives me an addition sign. Then I'm going to distribute the 1/5. Okay, and technically then I have to add 0 to both sides. Okay, then I can come over here and 2/5. Right here, and go up to 1/5. I'm sorry.
2/5, I'm sorry, right here. And go up 1 and over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should be right there. A little bit different. Again, I drew it out and I didn't use graph paper. That is my y-intercept form. A lot of times they'll ask you to do that. If I just want slope, you can use that when you have two of them. This particular one, I had a slope that's 3, and I had a line that passes through 1, -2. So y minus -2 equals 3 times x minus 1. Distributed 3 into there. So 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 1 is -3. Subtract 2 from both sides. So I get y equals 3x minus 5. And then I would graph it. -5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -5, up 3, 1, 2, 3, over 1. I forgot to talk over here. One thing I would like you to recognize, if it is a positive slope, your lines are going from quadrant 1 to quadrant 3. That's because this is a positive number over a positive number. Positive divided by positive gives me a positive number. This one happens to be a negative divided by a negative number, and that actually gives you a positive as well.
It goes quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4.
Absolutely, clockwise, counterclockwise. If you have a negative slope, now see how many of these went negative? I don't have those up there anymore. -4 is one. Negative x was another. So if they go from quadrant 2 to quadrant 4, that's because this one is a negative x over a positive y, which will give me a negative number. And this one is a positive x over a negative y, which would then give me a negative number as well. Graph behavior there, okay? I know we have talked about that in the past. I need this around my neck because I get more steps in trying to find that stupid thing than I ever walk over here. Oh,
Couldn't see it.
it was to put that video up. Okay, try this point slope formula practice for me.
So since you have a double negative y minus -7, would that just, could you just immediately?
Y minus a -7, you can
Just put a
immediately
plus
convert
sign.
that to a plus sign.
So you wouldn't be adding 7 to get that 7 over to the other side, you'd be subtracting 7?
Yep, correct. Gosh, look at you go.
I don't know who beat that into my head in grade school, but they did a good job of it.
Yep. You talked about it a lot too, Hunter. You talked about it last semester. You're talking about it again.
Yeah, I can touch base on stuff a lot throughout, like, my childhood education, but I can't remember where.
Yep.
I wish the rest of it could be this easy.
That'd be great.
It Do we do like an intro to statistics in this class?
No.
We don't do Z-scores and that stuff?
Huh?
We don't do Z-scores and that stuff?
We do Z-scores, yes.
I thought that was stats. Wasn't it? No?
All I have is elementary stats, and that comes right after college algebra. Z-scores aren't that hard once you learn how to do them.
Standard deviation and stuff.
Standard deviation is probably the most difficult thing for, I think, because there are several different formulas for it.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you know this question, I know it's way off subject, but if we're gonna go for our BSN, do we have to have chemistry?
I do not know that.
I think you do.
I would say yes,
Yeah, I think you need college chem.
but I do not know that for a fact. That might be something that you ask Michelle.
Yeah, yeah.
I know.
I want to know the answer.
I'm pretty sure you do need college.
Find the slope intercept.
Well, and you're going to want it because there are going to be classes that you will use it in.
Well, I don't plan on going past my RN, but
Why not?
I don't know. I don't know.
Let me tell you what's going to happen. And I'm gonna use your age for one thing, okay? So don't be offended, but because I'm not trying to offend you. But what happens as an RN gets out in the field? They work the floor for a while, and they see a whole bunch of stuff that needs to change. So guess what happens then? The RN has to go back to work, back to school, and you've been out of school for 5 years. What happens then?
You have to do it all over again.
You have to learn how to be a student all over again. It's very difficult. I would recommend, and I don't know if Michelle recommends this, but I recommend this. My mother, who was a 55-year-old woman going back to become an RN and did her bachelor's degree, do it now.
Yeah.
Do it while you're fresh in there. You are in the kind of mindset of getting an education. Then when you get out and work the field or work the floor, you can see all the things that need to change, and then you already have your bachelor's degree and you can walk into that administrative job, which that's what you're going to want to do. You're not going to want to work the floor for 40 years. I mean, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it's heavy duty lifting and this and that, and
I've been a CNA for 16 years.
absolutely. Do you want to do that for the rest of your life? No, that's why you're sitting here. But you still, as a nurse, still have to lift people and do kind of stuff that you're not going to want to do at 70 years old.
I got a question on letter A.
Got it?
To bypass this whole formula, because it's kind of messing with my head a little bit,
Okay.
can't you just get some graph paper,
Yep.
graph that point, and then go up 2 over 1?
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah, I just did that on my paper.
Absolutely.
Like, why did that work?
And that's great as long as you always have a graph to deal with. The problem is, if they ask you to put it in y-intercept form, then you're stuck. You have to know how to do it. So,
Which one's y-intercept?
this one right here, y equals mx plus b, slope intercept form, sorry.
Slope intercept, then you have point slope, which is y minus y1 equals m.
Yep. And then just slope up there where you're finding slope.
Slope, okay.
That's why it's hard for me to remember sometimes what they are.
Something like that.
But anyway, Rebecca, sometimes it is better for you to go ahead and get that degree
Yeah.
than get out and then, because you know how hard it was when you came back from working 16 years and trying to come back to school.
Yeah.
Annette, same thing. She had a very difficult time initially. She may still have difficult times at times, but she at least has been in there. I can remember the first day she walked into this class. It was the first semester I think she's taken since, and she was like, I haven't done this for 20 years,
I know.
15 years.
15 years.
And it takes a long time to get back in there.
Yeah.
That's
Oh.
the hardest part of it.
Absolutely. That's why as a youngin', not that maybe all of you are youngins, but you think oh, when I get my RN degree, it'll be so much easier, blah, blah, blah. But they only put more stuff on top of you. It's just different. It's not,
Yeah.
you're not wiping people's rear ends anymore, but you're turning them. You're having to help those CNAs do that kind of stuff, as well as all the other stuff that you have to do. I don't know, but I would not want to do that for the rest of my life, rest of my career, I guess. And I know that a lot of times, typically even with my mother, she saw so much going on that shouldn't be going on. You know, you have one nurse that does all the work, and the other nurses who don't do anything. They sit on their phone all day. You see it. You have one CNA that does all the work. Nobody else does any work but that one person. You see it, and you think, that is not right. I want to change, and so that's when you get into, I'm going to go to my bachelor's degree because I'm watching things that aren't right, and by golly, they need to be, if you're not going to work, get out, But absolutely, that's why people decide they don't want to work the field, work the floor.
The facility I work in, I see that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Then I also see my DON that says, oh, well, this nurse comes out and helps. And then they sit there and they downgrade that nurse because, you know what, hey, they help out on the floor. And then they sit there and they downgrade that nurse. And then it makes them feel like crap.
The DON does?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you have to do to be a DON?
Have my bachelor's in nursing.
There you go. So how do you change it? You become the DON and you don't downgrade those people. You actually reward those people who are out helping. That's what their job is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great if you have a med and they can pass pills, but if they can't, then that nurse has to pass pills. There are people that need help. That's what your job is,
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's not my soapbox. It should be your soapbox. Do with it what you want. But on the statistics class, absolutely love the statistics class. Frequently we see statistics every day, many of which are false. Because I can pull a number out of my rear end any day and say that it's a percentage and have people believe it and have nothing to back that up. And a lot of times that's what happens. And so we go through that process and finding out what is a viable statistic and why should we believe a statistics and what goes into that, getting that statistic. And there's quite drastic information there. Okay. All right, so, I keep pulling off
Form
here.
the equation of the line that has the given slope and passes through the given point. In part A, you are given a slope of m equals 2 and the point 3, negative 7. Given the slope and a point, you can find the point slope form of the equation of the line. The point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Substituting 2 for m, 3 for x1, and negative 7 for y1, you get y minus negative 7 equals 2 times x minus 3, which is the same as y plus 7 equals 2 times x minus 3. Now you can find the slope-intercept form of this equation. To find the slope-intercept form of y plus 7 equals 2 times x minus 3, first distribute the 2 into the x minus 3. This gives you y plus 7 equals 2x minus 6. Next, subtract 7 from both sides. This will give you y equals 2x minus 13, which is the slope-intercept form of the equation. In part B, you're given a slope of m equals negative 2/3 and the point 1, 1. Again, you want to start by finding the point slope form of the equation of the line. Substituting negative 2/3 for m, 1 for x1, and 1 for y1, you get y minus 1 equals negative 2/3 times x minus 1. To find the slope-intercept form of y minus 1 equals negative 2/3 times x minus 1, first distribute the negative 2/3 into the x minus 1. This gives you y minus 1 equals negative 2/3 x plus 2/3. Next, add 1 to both sides of the equation. This gives you y equals negative 2/3 x plus 5/3, which is the slope-intercept form of the equation. In part C, you are given a slope of m equals 0 and the point 1, 1. Yet again, you want to
Gosh,
start
if
by
m
finding
equals
the
0.
point slope form of the equation of the line. Substituting 0 for m, 1 for x1, and 1 for y1, you get y minus 1 equals 0 times x minus 1, which is the same as y minus 1 equals 0. Now you need to find the slope-intercept form of this equation. To find the slope-intercept form of y minus 1 equals 0, add 1 to both sides of the equation. This gives you y equals 1, which is the slope-intercept form of the equation.
All right. So let's talk about parallel and perpendicular lines. A line is perpendicular or parallel.
Now we know why. Parallel means they never cross. They're same distance apart from, where they start and where they finish. We know that perpendicular crosses, two lines that cross. But this information has to do with their slope. Okay? There's a symbol of two lines for parallel. And two lines are parallel if they have the same slope. Perpendicular lines are perpendicular. Here's the perpendicular symbol, by the way. They are lines that cross at a 90-degree angle, or a box, just like this. Two lines are perpendicular if they have a slope that is the reciprocal, the negative reciprocal of the other one, like 4 and negative 1/4. This being 4 over 1, negative 1/4. Or if I multiplied the two slopes together, I would get a negative 1.
Is that like a little S?
It is.
somewhere in there?
Just stands for square.
I just want, I can't. I'm blind, I'm going.
I wouldn't put I wouldn't put the S in there, but that was about the right size that I needed. It looks like an upside down capital T. So that's how I find if I have a perpendicular or a parallel set of lines. Again, parallel, slopes are the same. Perpendicular, they're the negative reciprocal of each other. Or if I took them and multiplied, I get a negative 1. I know I have students that do both of those. All right, so find the slope-intercept form of an equation that passes through the point 2, 1, and are A, parallel to, and B, perpendicular to, 2/3 minus 3y equals 5. Okay, so we're going to take that formula. We're going to move the variables to the position so that it's y equals mx plus b. I'm going to erase a little bit of this, but try to leave as much as I can as well. All right, so 2x minus 3y equals 5. I want it in y-intercept form, so I'm going to move this over here. I've got to subtract that to do that. And then I've got to divide by negative 3 because this here does not have a coefficient on it, that y. It's 1 or it's non-existent there.
It's probably a stupid question, but can you divide by negative 3 first?
Only if you divide all of it by negative 3.
Oh.
So this is negative 3. So y equals 2/3 minus 5/3.
You do the order of operations backwards when you're doing that, right? You do subtraction, addition, and then you do multiplication, division.
No, I'm just moving over the x so I can get in the formula that I need, and then dividing this by a negative 3 so I can get in the formula that I need. I'm not using PEMDAS at all. Although what I'm doing is not illegal according to PEMDAS style. PEMDAS equation, formula, rules.
Okay, so here is my y-intercept form, okay, slope-intercept form. If I have a parallel line, my slope has to stay the same. And I have a point of 2, 1. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. 2, 1 as my point.
I was like, why would you do them on, I've gotten them on,
Got it?
yeah?
Okay. And so y minus 1 equals, I'm doing parallel, so it's got to be the same slope. That's the case number, write it the same. Okay. Distribute the 2/3. Add 1 to both sides. So this is going to be a 3/3. Y equals negative, no, not negative. Y equals 2/3 x minus 1/3 if I have a parallel line. If I have a perpendicular, I'm going to use the same thing, but I'm going to switch the slope. So perpendicular negative 3/2. Distribute. Okay, add 1 to both sides. And this one is going to be y equals negative 3/2 x plus 4. If it's perpendicular. Okay. Practice this one. Only because I know some of you need that practice of this right here. Okay? This right here. And remembering that parallel is the same slope and perpendicular is a negative reciprocal. Stick with me for a few minutes, just a few more screens. First thing I do have to do is I've got to find out.
How can it be parallel and perpendicular to the same line?
It's not. This one is parallel. This one is perpendicular. Look at that M.
Oh, so you want us to use that point and find the line that will be parallel with it and then find the line that will be perpendicular?
Absolutely. First thing I have to do is I have to get it into slope intercept form. So 5x minus 3y equals 8. And I want it in y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to move this 5 over here by subtracting it. Then I'm going to divide by negative 3. This here is your slope intercept form. So I want it parallel. For parallel, I want the exact same slope. Perpendicular. I'm going to use the negative reciprocal of that, so
So on the parallel line, it would be y equals 5 over 3x plus 6.6 repeated.
I don't know. I would say 6 2/3 if it were me, but I don't know that that's, I don't have any idea. Because I'm not going to do it. I'm actually going to check point up. And they may not even do 6 whole. They may do like 100 over 6. So be aware of that as well.
Oh,
Oh my
like
God.
20 over 3,
Yes.
for like let's leave it in fraction.
Yes. And this one is 2, 1.
Part A of this problem asks you to find the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line that passes through the point -4, 1 and is parallel to the line 5x minus 3y equals 8. Two lines that are parallel have the same slope. So first you need to find the slope of the line 5x minus 3y equals 8. To find the slope, you want to find the slope-intercept form of the equation. To do this, subtract 5x from both sides. This gives you -3y equals -5x plus 8. Then divide both sides by -3. This will leave you with the slope-intercept form, which is y equals 5/3 x minus 8/3. Here you can see that the slope is 5/3. Using this slope in the point -4, 1, you can find the point-slope form of the equation of the line parallel to the given line. Remember that the point-slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Substituting 5/3 for m, -4 for x1, and 1 for y1, you get y minus 1 equals 5/3 times x minus -4. To find the slope-intercept form of this equation, you first want to distribute the 5/3 into the x minus -4. This gives you y minus 1 equals 5/3 x plus 20/3. Then add 1 to both sides. This leaves you with the slope-intercept form, which is y equals 5/3 x plus 23/3.
There you go, so
In
see,
part B,
they
we're
left it
asked
as.
to find the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line that passes.
Hunter,
What?
you had 20 over 3.
Mhm.
Did you add that one?
I also got 20 over 3, and that's,
Okay, what about adding this one right here?
What were what then? You added 1.
Yes.
Yep, that's where I fudged up.
So when I add 1, that is actually 3 over 3. So it'd be 23 over 3. That's how they got 23 over 3.
Where?
Okay.
You added a whole 1?
Right here, yep, because
Because you have to take your.
you see where it's y minus?
Yeah. Y minus 1.
Right here?
You added 1 to get that on the other side. You
Yep.
get y by itself.
Yep.
Where does that go?
This right here. See where they took the minus 1 here? So they added it so they could get rid of it here. And then over here, they add 1 here, which if I break it up into thirds, that's 3/3. If I have 3/3 of a pizza, I have a whole pizza.
If you added, like, you're thinking it'd be 1 and 20, you know.
Yes.
It'd be all messed up, so you have to put it into a fraction form to add it to the.
Yeah.
To the fraction.
Yeah. Oh, so that's the parallel?
That is parallel.
That's the parallel line equation?
Yes. Which it sounds like you did everything except for the minus 1, getting rid of that away from y. So you probably still have y minus 1 equals 5/3 x plus 20 over 3.
I got y minus 1
Yeah.
equals 5 over 3 x plus 4.
Okay, then you did not do all of the
I didn't distribute that.
distribute. Yeah.
I didn't distribute that first.
So 5 times -4 is 20, and then a 3 on the bottom.
Okay. All right. Okay.
All right, so now perpendicular. Okay?
Passes through the point -4, 1 and is perpendicular to the line 5x minus 3y equals 8. Two lines that are perpendicular to each other have slopes that are negative reciprocals. You can see from part A that the slope of 5x minus 3y equals 8 is 5/3. So the slope of a line perpendicular to this line is m equals -3/5. Now using this slope and the point -4, 1, you can find the point slope form of the equation of the line perpendicular to the given line. Again, remember that the point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Substituting -3/5 for m, -4 for x1, and 1 for y1, you get y minus 1 equals -3/5 times x minus -4. To find the slope-intercept form of this equation, first distribute the -3/5 into the x minus -4. This gives you y minus 1 equals -3/5 x minus 12/5. Next, add 1 to both sides. This will leave you with the slope-intercept form of the equation, which is y equals -3/5 x minus 7/5.
Okay, I want to stop there for a second since we had to talk about this just a moment ago. Okay, so once we distribute, we have -3 times -4 gives me a +12, but then I have a negative here, so it ends up being a negative 12. Over 5, which is what my denominator was to begin with. Then I add the 1 that is attached to this y here to get it away from the y. When I do that, then I add 5/5 this time. And negative 12 plus 5 gives me a negative 7. And then 5 as your denominator. All right, that's all well and dandy, Amber. We understand we can use this with medications and so on and so forth. Where else are we ever going to use this? You can. You're going to take the weight times how much the medication is, and as an RN, that is your job to make sure the doctor doesn't overprescribe. Fine. Because he doesn't lose his job.
Shit goes down here.
Yes, it does.
It does.
It very mightily does. Mhm. But once you start giving the same medications over and over, you will recognize if a doctor is giving an infant the size of a dose for a 300-pound man, you'll recognize and say, whoa, that is way too much, and you'll get good at that. So here is one place that we use this. And even as nurses or anybody in society, this might be something that you either are plagued with or you have to know. So the maximum recommended slope of a wheelchair ramp is 1/12. That's 1 inch over 12 inches of run. 1 inch is rising, 12 inches running, okay? A business is installing a wheelchair ramp that rises 22 inches and it runs 24 inches. Is this ramp at code? Is it proportional to your 1/12?
No.
No.
No, definitely not. Not even close. Okay? If it were, this would be a 2 inches over 24. So no, it is not. They definitely need to be looking at some information. That's going to be way too steep for you to get a wheelchair up there. Okay? And if you've ever pushed a wheelchair up a steep ramp, that ain't fun.
It's 2 foot. You get a running start at it, you can get all pop off the stairs.
No, they're screaming.
Okay, what if nobody's pushing, it'll pop up the stairs?
Pull. Pop
What if
it
nobody's
off,
there?
Pop a wheelie and
You
drag
think
it
Pop's
back.
going to be able to pull up on that on that ramp by himself?
Just get a winch.
Okay, Hunter, we're going to just call, guys, when you have that problem, call Hunter. He knows how to do it.
Get it come on.
Okay, so if the ramp has a rise of 36 inches over a run of 32, would that be the code?
No.
Rise over run, 36. No, because it's going to be more.
A rise of 36 over a run of 32.
You can go up 1 inch for every 12 inches it extends.
Absolutely.
So
Doesn't look like it, does it?
that's not even close. That's even worse than the first one. The first one-
Yeah, you're right, it is. So that's the issue. That's one place we see it, okay? We also see it in determining cost for producing units of a blend. This one happens to be a blender, okay? We're going to use the mathematical model where C is going to be the y-intercept. Slope is going to be what's before x. So the y-intercept of 0, 3,200. So 0 is how much we have made. And the cost of producing that was $3,500. Okay? This is a fixed cost, does not move, stays the same. It's always the same. Slope is 25, tells you that producing each item costs $25. This is kind of your machine kick-up. Okay, to get the machine going, it costs $3,500, and then we can make however many. Economists call this cost per unit or marginal cost, and if the production increases by 1 unit, the marginal cost or extra amount it costs is $25. Okay, so the cost only increases at a rate of 25. Find out how much it costs to make 10 blenders. So replace X with 10, and you will have your amount.
$37.50.
$37.50. That's pretty good there, Hunter, in your head.
Yeah.
$37.50. So 10 of them cost how much?
10.
Yeah, how much is it?
It'll cost $250.
$250, and then the extra $3,500, $6,000, I think.
What?
Okay, this 25. No, I'm way off. 25 times 10 is 250.
Yep.
Plus 35, so 37.50. Sorry. Okay. How about accounting? An accounting firm determines that the value of a copier that is T years old after its purchase is value equals negative 300 times T plus 1,500. That 1,500 is going to be the cost when that copier stops depreciating. Okay? The useful value that you will have is 1,500 there. All right, so if the copier is 3 years old, how much value does it have? Take 3 times that negative 300, so negative 900,
$400.
plus 13, or plus 15, and it's 6.
900. Oh, yeah, I'll do it all.
Okay, 600. Actually, the 1,500 is probably what they paid for it. So this is one way that businesses deduct depreciation on equipment. If you have somebody who mows lawns, they buy a lawnmower, they depreciate that equipment 1 year at a time so they can use that as a way to make their money. Yeah, it's kind of a kick it back. There are also examples in your book around page 129 of some various others as well. I think I used the ones that were important there, or were ones that I thought you might see. There's one on predicting sales on 130 as well. So those are the ways that you're going to use slope